At 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, a single button press triggered the worst nuclear disaster in human history. What happened in the next 60 seconds would poison an entire continent and change the course of the Cold War forever. This is the story of Chernobyl. To understand how this happened, we need to go back 24 hours. Reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was scheduled for a routine safety test. Ironically, this test was designed to see if the reactor could survive a power failure. Instead, it would cause one. The team working that night was experienced, but they were about to make a series of decisions that, individually, seemed minor. Together, they were catastrophic. The test required reducing the reactor's power output to 25% of normal levels. But here's where things started to go wrong. Due to a delay in getting permission from the grid controller, the test was postponed for 9 hours. A new shift came on duty, led by Deputy Chief Engineer Anatoly Dyatlov. Now, Dyatlov was known for being brilliant, but also for cutting corners and intimidating his subordinates. When he arrived, the reactor's power had dropped too far, to just 1% of capacity. The reactor was now in an extremely unstable state. At this point, the operators should have shut everything down and tried again another day. But Dyatlov insisted they proceed. To bring the power back up, they had to manually remove control rods, the very devices that keep a nuclear reaction from spiraling out of control. One operator, Leonid Toptanov, was just 26 years old. He expressed concerns about the safety parameters they were violating. Dyatlov's response? "Don't be stupid. Do what I tell you." By 1:22 a.m., they had removed nearly all the control rods. The reactor was like a bomb with the pin half pulled. Computer readouts were screaming warnings, but Dyatlov ordered them to continue. At 1:23:40, they pressed the emergency shutdown button, known as AZ5. This should have saved everything. Instead, it sealed their fate. You see, there was a fatal design flaw in the RBMK reactor that most operators didn't know about. When the control rods were reinserted, they temporarily increased the reaction before suppressing it. For 3 to 5 seconds, the power output didn't decrease. It exploded upward. The reactor went from 200 megawatts to 33,000 megawatts in less than a second, over 150 times its normal operating power. Senior engineer Alexander Akimov watched his control panel light up like a Christmas tree. Then everything went dark. 2 massive explosions ripped through Reactor 4. The 2,000-ton concrete lid was blown off like a bottle cap. Radioactive material began spewing directly into the atmosphere. What happened next was a mixture of extraordinary heroism and shocking denial. Fire crews arrived within minutes, but nobody told them they were fighting a nuclear fire. They used water on burning graphite, which only made things worse. Many of these firefighters received lethal doses of radiation within hours. Meanwhile, Dyatlov refused to believe the reactor had exploded. Despite seeing the building destroyed and the fuel glowing in the night sky, he insisted it was just a hydrogen tank. This denial cost precious hours. The Soviet government's response was equally catastrophic. They didn't evacuate the nearby city of Pripyat for 36 hours. Children played outside while invisible death rained down on them. Eventually, hundreds of thousands of people were evacuated from the 30-kilometer exclusion zone. Soldiers, miners, and volunteers were sent in to contain the disaster. These liquidators worked in shifts of just a few minutes because of the intense radiation. Over 600,000 people participated in the cleanup. Many paid with their lives. The human cost is still being calculated today. The official Soviet death toll was 31. Independent estimates range from 4,000 to 93,000 deaths from radiation-related illnesses. Chernobyl didn't just change the landscape of Ukraine, it changed the world. The disaster revealed the decay and dysfunction at the heart of the Soviet system. Many historians argue it contributed directly to the fall of the USSR 5 years later. Today, Reactor 4 sits entombed in a massive steel structure called the New Safe Confinement, built to contain the radiation for at least 100 years. Pripyat remains a ghost city, frozen in time. But perhaps the most chilling part of this story is how preventable it all was. If any one of a dozen decisions had been different that night, if Dyatlov had listened to his operators, if the Soviet government had been transparent about the reactor's design flaws, those two explosions might never have happened. Chernobyl stands as a monument to what happens when human arrogance meets technological power, when systems fail and accountability disappears. It's a warning from history that 38 years later, we still need to hear. If you found this story compelling, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the moments that changed history. What historical disaster should we cover next? Let me know in the comments.